So, funny story. I just accidentally. Oops, microphone's out of position. Let's destroy the entire desk. Very professional. I just accidentally made platinum while testing a deck in ranked for fun. And yeah, so let me show you what I have made. I'm going to report this because previous video I was arguing that I wasn't doing great, and then I've just ranked to the next level. So how to manage this? Well, I started playing this Enigmatic incarnation of Mizzet deck, Fire's Invention, and it turned out this is really pretty okay against Rakdos decks. So if you look at this, it just looks like a heaping pile of random cards, but it's built around Enigmatic incarnation. So for those of you who don't know, this is basically a weird birthing pod effect. At the end of your step, you sacrifice you may sacrifice, that's the keyword, another enchantment. If you do, set your life for a creature card with mana value equal to it +1, and put it onto the battlefield. So, we're also playing Fires of Invention. You can only cast 2 spells during your turn. You can't cast spells any other time. And you can only cast spells with converted mana cost equal to or less than the number of mana you control, but you don't pay mana to cast these spells. Really key thing about that obviously is that we have our lands available for other abilities. So what we want to do obviously is have this or this and just start churning out value. So let's start with tracking our enchantments. So in the low end we have Trial of Ambition to just force opponents to sacrifice creatures. Really good because the Rakdos deck, while it does go wide, it usually drops like one thing a turn, then a Planeswalker, then a creature, then a Planeswalker, then a creature. So this can be great. And also, it's a permanent that Yorion can flicker for double effect. Yeah, it's monocolored, but like its effect is just too good in this deck. Then we have our Fixing and Ramp. We have Path of the World Tree. I've gushed about this card enough to know how much I love this, and the fact it was in the Painbow pre-constructed commander deck just makes me so happy. We have Urban Utopia. This is a fixing land enchantment. Turns a land into a soul land and draws us a card when it enters. We then have Hidden Stockpile just as a weird little filler card. Improbable Alliance, was not impressed with this. We actually had then Invasion of the Giants and Cindervines just to fill out space. I think I'm going to go up in Invasion of the Giants because this card was surprisingly really good. I forgot how good it was as a permanent, and you know, if we can flip it again, blink it or reuse it, it's really good. Then we go into our free drop enchantments. We got Oath of Kaya, the Theatre of Horrors. This card is really good with the Fires of Invention because we can pay 4 to ping an opponent and then have access to all the spells under it. Fires of Invention doesn't require us to cast a spell from our hand. We then have a creature / enchantments in this slot. So we have Gloom Streaker. This card is great. This is Renegade Rallier on steroids. Except it doesn't bring it back to the field, it puts it back in your hand. But I might go up another copy of this because the amount of times an opponent has forward seized me and seen Gloom Shrieker and another permanent they want to take away, it is just hilarious because it's like pay 2 life to force me to use this creature to get back something I was going to get back anyway. And Clophis. Here as well for Graveyard Hate, but also synergy with Theatre because Clophis is obviously shocking everything, gives us access to the cards under Theatre. Then in the 4-drop, we only have our 2 main ones, Fires, Enigmatic, and Showdown of the Skulls. Just for card advantage. I mean, chapters 2 and 3 we don't really care about, if I'm 100% honest. We don't tend to pump our creatures too big. And then we have our 5-drop. So, what's our chains in this deck? So if we have an Enigmatic Incarnation and a 2-drop down, say Trial of Ambition or one of these strings, we can swing into our free drops. We can grab Deputy of Detention for some removal. It is susceptible to removal against Rakdos, but I found if they've gone all in on ultimating a Liliana or protecting her, even resetting her to free loyalty can just buy you time. Forgot to mention Oath of Kaya, that's another one. Wandering Mind digs for a non-creature spell, which is most of this deck because it's mostly enchantments. Night of Autumn for enchantment removal and hate. Rogue Refiner is just a recycle card. It's kind of a last hold place. Again, I'm not impressed. Might change it for something else. And Kalia Zenith Seeker. I've been experimenting with Kalia. That sounds wrong, but yeah, I've been experimenting with her in the Explorer decks because we don't have Ring to Light, so just having something that could also dig. She's kind of like a Wandering Mind for dragons in this deck, but you know, if we desperately want to hit something, we can do great in this. Moving then into our 4-drops, we have Edgar, because if you are sleeping on this card, Edgar is so good against the Rakdos deck because they don't have Exile. Their only traditional graveyard spells they run for Graveyard Hate are the Wandering the Graveyard Trespasser, the BS Black Werewolf that should not have been a werewolf. If it had been a zombie or something else, I would have got it. I hate the fact it's a werewolf because it's in black and it breaks the tribe. Yeah, so they do not have way Edgar works is when he goes to the graveyard, he'll immediately come back. So if they literally force you to sack, he instantly comes back. They don't have an opportunity to attack or play a Graveyard Trespasser to get Edgar out of the way. And the fact that we can tutor Edgar for just sacking, for example, an Oath of Kyra after we've got its ability is really good here. We also have Hostage Taker to clear the way / steal something if we really want it. Gazalef Prismari is kind of a placeholder. He gives us a treasure token, so he's not terrible. He's a low stated dragon, but again, it's just another 4-drop to be tutorable. If we have Edgar on the field and we don't have anything we want to steal yet, just having another flying threat can be good, and gumming up the board against Rakdos with their edicts is pretty decent. Finally, we have a 5-drop. We're only running 2 Niv-Mizzets in this deck because the purpose of this deck, as much as I say this, is yes to get Niv-Mizzet, but we want to tutor him out if we have to. We don't want to get stuck with Niv-Mizzets in our hand in this deck. We want to draw a Niv when we have either fires on the field, or if we have a good amount of lands. For example, in the last match I won against Rakdos to rank up, we were down to just an Enigmatic Incarnation and a Fires of Invention on the field, because these were the last 2 cards in our hand. Our opponent had nothing in their hand, and we had a World Tree active because this deck does run the World Tree for fixing. So we had all the mana available, so I just literally sacked Fires to grab Niv-Mizzet, which then completely refilled our hand because, as you can see, most of the hits here are multicolored. It gave us, I think, 2 or 3 other cards that gave us a shot to win the game. Excuse me. Aside from that, we also have Tolsimir for life gain, fighting, removal, 2 bodies as well. It's very nice against some of the Lilianas that are currently available. And a Yorion that is tutorable if we have, for example, a bunch of ETBs we want to bounce. Also, fair to notice, Fires of Invention again makes it so you can't pay. So literally, Yorion is pay free to put it in your hand and cast a spell. And if you, as many of the things here as you can see have an ETB, resetting some sagas, getting some triggers back, flipping Edgar, because interaction I haven't shown much but I have used online, is if Edgar is in his coffin form and we have tokens on the field that can attack, we can screw up an opponent's combat math by just flipping Edgar back, because he's another body and he gives us +2/+2 lifelinkers, +1/+1 lifelinkers to block with. Again, love this card. Need to not be sleeping on it. But yeah, this is a deck, and the thing I wanted to make this very clear about, because I've literally just ranked up, is I was joking around testing because I didn't expect this deck to do anything. I don't have a sideboard. I didn't sideboard a single card against Rakdos and just outvalued these people because, yeah, Rakdos can't handle enchantments, and literally just having an engine where your enchantments eventually become threats that eventually overpower them is pretty good. I think the only game I dropped was one when I was on the draw against one player who literally just went, who I stumbled on lands, I think was the only reason I lost it. But yes, so this is the Enigmatic Niv deck. We'll have some gameplay coming forward. I don't have time to do another recording now, but yeah, a deck with this fires, yeah, this deck might actually be kind of legit, and it's weird.